And I was like, oh my gosh. What is up, Flockers? That is my fellow Lockers and aspiring Lockers. Would you like to know the pros and cons of lock extensions from someone who's actually had lock extensions multiple times in their hair? Then stick around. Starting with the pros, the first pro of lock extensions is the fact that once you have them installed, you automatically have instant length that you didn't have before, okay? You may have gone into the salon with like DL Hughley length locks, you know, them short little Cheeto locks, and then you come out and now all of a sudden you're Rapunzeling and you got locks all the way down your back. So that is a huge pro. That now all of a sudden you go in with short locks, you come out with long locks. And kind of piggybacking off of that one, another pro is the fact that now that you have this instant length that you didn't have before, now you're able to achieve styles that you weren't able to achieve before. And you're able to do things with your locks that you weren't able to do before because now they're longer than they were. And another pro, kind of piggybacking off of the first two, is the fact that you can choose the exact length that you want. So not only are you getting longer locks, but you can choose if you want medium length locks, if you want long locks, if you want super long locks, if you want Rapunzel locks. The ceiling is the limit, or the sky is the limit. So you can choose how long you want your locks. Of course, price is gonna change with how long you want your locks and how thick and all that stuff, but you get to choose, you get to have the power, you get to make that choice. Another pro that comes along with lock extensions is that you're able to wash them the same day. As long as whoever is installing them does them well and correctly, you can literally wash your hair the same day that you get them installed. You know, maybe you're like, all right, I've got this human hair that's in my hair now, but I want it to be clean, I want it to smell fresh, I want it to smell like me and my shampoo. You can wash your hair the same day you get it installed. That is a huge pro. Now moving on to the cons, because we can't just talk about the good, because along with the good sometimes comes bad. So the first con with lock extensions is that you don't get to skip all of the stages of lockdom. So maybe you're thinking, oh, if I get lock extensions, I won't have to deal with budding, I won't have to deal with shrinkage, I won't have to deal with swelling of locks, I won't have to go through the ugly phase. And there is some truth to the fact that maybe you don't have to go through the extreme phase that people call the ugly phase or the unruly phase, because your locks aren't going to be super short, so maybe they won't stick out in different directions, but you still have to go through swelling. Your natural hair that's growing from your scalp is still going to swell, it's still going to bud, it's still going to go through all the transitions that it would have gone through regardless of whether you had lock extensions or not. So that's something to keep in mind, because it is a con if you think you're just going to walk out with lock extensions and your journey is just going to be smooth sailing with no type of maturing of your locks along the way. Another huge con that comes along with lock extensions is that as time goes by and over the years, there's a good chance that you may have slippage and lose some of your lock extensions. True story, living in Russia, I have lock extensions in my hair because when I moved to Russia, I didn't want to have to deal with anyone trying to, deal with my hair, since hardly anybody over there looks like me. I was like, all right, I need something that I can maintain on my own and something that I can not have to worry about. So I had lock extensions when I went over to Russia. And I would go swimming, I would wash my hair, all that stuff, retwist it, all of that. They were traditional size locks. So I went on this trip out to the village to hang out with some friends, did some swimming in the lake and the river and stuff out there. And we were staying with this family and they had a 3-year-old at the time. And I remember leaving their house or their cottage in the village and going back to the city that I was living in. And we get a call and they're like, hey, our little boy, our little 3-year-old was really concerned because when he woke up this morning, he said, uncle, that's what they, in Russian call someone who's a friend. You don't have to necessarily be the uncle or aunt, but that's what they call people who are older, or grandma, grandpa, depending on how old. So yeah, he said, uncle left his hair. And I'm like, what do you mean left his hair? And they're like, one of your locks was on the pillow or under the pillow or in the bed or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I probably traumatized this 3-year-old because now he thinks that I'm just like Medusa leaving my hair and it's just popping off. So all that to say that there is a true reality in the fact that with lock extensions, those mugs might slip out over time and you may lose them. It's just part of it. A lot of times when you have lock extensions, again, a con that throughout the years and time, you do have to do some maintenance to them to rewrap them or to crochet them to make sure that the base and where it's connected to your actual hair is still strong and fortified. Kind of piggybacking off of that one, but another con is the fact that even if it doesn't slip out completely, there are times that you may have a little bit of slippage to where it doesn't come out and where it is still very snug and in your hair, but then you can see this like line of demarcation because you have your hair and it's kind of thinner because it's been compressed where it was wrapped in this other lock extension. And then you have this fatter lock extension that's hanging on your lock. And again, it requires maintenance to fix that. It's not gonna just slide back up and fix it itself. So either you're gonna have to take it out and reattach it, you're gonna have to crochet it, you're gonna have to wrap it with some hair. So that's a thing that you have to take into consideration. I had several throughout the years that did that, and it was weird because you have like one size and then like I said, it gets kind of thin like a pencil's tip. And then you have this like chunkier, thicker lock that also matches the top portion. And so it just looks weird because it's like shroom, shroom, shroom. And one of the biggest cons that you need to keep in mind when it comes to lock extensions is that it is added hair to your hair. What does added hair sometimes do to your hair? It can cause traction alopecia. It can cause thinning because it is pulling on, it can not only cause thinning within your lock, but it can also cause thinning at the roots because it's adding extra weight. So depending on how big your sections are and how much hair is at the base of the root of your lock, it could really do some damage if you're, if the lock extension, especially, okay, so for example, let's say you have a decent, foundation for your lock extension, but let's say your hair is the length of my hair now, okay? So here, then I put a lock extension on and that lock extension is down to my waist. So, okay, maybe for the first couple of years we're rocking, no problems, but over time, that's a lot of weight. When you're putting this much hair onto hair that's already there, that the base of it wasn't made to support the weight of that. And there's a difference from when your hair that grows out that length and when you have added hair on top of it. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Over time, it could, it depends on the density of your hair, it depends on how much hair there is within each lock, but it's just something that you want to take into consideration. And if you're having someone else do it for you, hopefully they are knowledgeable and they know how to make the sections and proportions the right size so that it doesn't damage your hair and mess it up. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button as it definitely helps this channel and pushes it out to more people. And also hit the subscribe button so that you can join the flock. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so let's keep on climbing this mountain together. While you're here, make sure to check out some of the other videos that have popped up on the screen. I'll see you there.